we have your card sound is very nice, perfectly prepared for your battles at the Olivine City Gym. Well, that shouldn't be in there. Where was that card I had? It's not there. It's a Gengar. That won't be where. Oh, hi. How are you? Good, good. What brings you in this evening? Looking for a custom deck. Well, that's great because that just so happens to be our specialty. That's right, we build custom decks for even the most unique of circumstances and requirements. So I have a lot of confidence that we'll have something that suits you just right. Where are you coming from tonight? Olivine. You don't say. That's quite the distance. What do you do in Olivine City? Really? You work at the gym, Jasmine's gym. Wow. Well, I can't say we get a lot of trainers from gyms or gym leaders in here, but we are always very fortunate when we do get to serve such highly esteemed trainers such as yourself. So, welcome, and please make yourself at home. If there's anything we can help you with, don't hesitate to ask. We love really having a challenge when it comes to building a deck. With that said, what kind of deck are you looking for tonight? Allow me, these are just some extra cards here. As you can see, they're really from a large variety of sets. We have basic sets and, newer sets, stuff like that. So we were just sorting through some of those. So, like I said, let me just get out my trusty pen and pencil and paper here to take a few notes on the specifics and details of the deck that you require this evening. So, first off, your name. Perfect. And the Olivine City Gym. That will kind of help me tailor the deck specifically for you and your line of work. So, what is the overall need in the deck that you want built tonight? Obviously, you've come some distance to specifically get a deck built at our establishment, which we feel very flattered for that opportunity. So we thank you for your business. Obviously, our recommendations have traveled far and wide. So are you building a deck for your specific, just personal use? Are you building it for business use or any other kind of usage of the deck? Business use, so I can assume this deck will be used in your Olivine City Gym work. Great, all right, so for business use. Okay, so I can assume this will be used in official, however, TCG battles there at the Olivine City Gym. Of course. Official use. Sanctioned by the Pokemon League, of course. Excellent. Sanctioned. That will just help me curtail some of the other options that we sometimes offer with our decks. With officially sanctioned decks, they're used in gyms, we have to make sure we stay adhered to guidelines. You know how it is. All right. So, not related to the deck, how's business going there in Olivine City at the gym? Have you guys had a lot of challengers, both TCG and Pokemon battle related? Really? Great, great. How's the win rate. Perfect. Always great to not have to hand out too many badges. And having powerful trainers like you before they get to Jasmine is really an important part of that aspect. Great. All right, so sounds like business is good. Okay, so I know that Jasmine is a steel type trainer. She does boast a powerful and amazing Steelix. I can only assume that you would like this deck to reflect that steel typing. Great. And does it have to be steel type only Pokemon? Of course. Sometimes that can be quite limiting, or can we mix in a few normal types and of course perhaps some rock or ground types to go with those steel? Perfect. Okay. So let's keep that to rock, normal, and steel type. And of course, by rock, I do mean the fighting energy type in the TCG. Rock, of course, would be, like Onyx in your Pokemon battle versions there at the gym. Of course, the rock type Onyx evolves into Jasmine Steel type Steelix, as you know. Great. Okay. So now that I've got the typing card era that you would like the decks to be built around. Neo era, okay. I figured that would be around the era that you would like the deck to be built on, just due to the Steelix and the types of Pokemon used in that gem. That's great. We have many cards in that variety to choose from. I think you'll be quite pleased. Alright, so we have Neo era sets consisting of rock, normal, and steel type. We have, of course, steel typing being the primary usage of the card. What would you like your ace Pokemon to be in the deck? A Steelix. Perfect. Trying to garner some favor with the gym leader there, I do suppose. Not a bad strategy. I'm sure that Jasmine will be quite flattered that you've chosen to model your deck after her prized Pokemon, that is. That's a great choice. Okay. Let's go ahead and get a few more details. What is your budget here for your deck, or is it paid for by the gym? Okay, so you'd like to keep it at a moderate level. I'll try to keep the hollow foils to a decent amount. Now, typical with the sanctioned gym TCG decks, I assume you would like one copy of your ace Pokemon in the deck being Steelix, and then others built around that. Of course, perfect. Yes, any gym sanctioned decks that we have built in the past have been similar, so we are well adept at creating decks that meet those specifications. I think this will be great. Okay, so I will go ahead and select your 60 card deck here in the back, bring the cards forward, show you what we have, and then take you through your remaining deck options that you have. Does that sound all right? Perfect. Okay. Sit tight and I'll go to the back and select your cards. Just give me but a brief moment. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so we have your cards right here. As you, I'm sure, are well aware, these cards are just a bit vintage, but prepared for use. So don't be afraid to handle them and utilize them in your gym battles. Of course, we will provide you the options for sleeves and things like that, but we do like to show you the cards in their raw state when we allow you to view the cards before confirming the deck list. All right, how does that sound? Perfect. Okay, so what I will do is take you through all of the cards that I've selected for your deck. for all the way from your basic cards, your evolutions, your stage 1, 2s, your trainers, and energies. Alright, are you ready? Perfect. So, I'm going to start here with just some basic Pokemon in order to get your deck started at the beginning of your turn. As you can see, we have a nice Gligar. And it's that fighting energy type that we talked about before. So this Gligar will be great for just getting some quick damage out on the field during your turn. We have some simple Poison Sting attack for 10 and a nice neutral energy slash. Of course, you will only have fighting and steel type energies in this deck, so you won't have to worry about not having the proper type of energies, perhaps except for maybe your steel type cards, if you can't draw that steel type energy at first. But with some of the cards here, I think we will be able to remedy that situation. So we do have 4 Gligar here for you. And that brings us to the next card in our deck here, a nice neutral normal type Stantler. So as you can see, that Stantler is a very nice card there. This Stantler once again offers you a quick basic Pokemon to get started early on in your turn. This gives you a chance to ensure that you have basic Pokemon to use on your first and early turns. We have a nice utility card here. We have Stomp for 20 plus, giving you an additional option to do some damage. And we have Mystifying Horns, which is absolutely a great attack because it does, at the cost of 3 energy, do 20 damage, but can also land a Confusion, which can be very tricky for opponents and really useful early in game. So that will be a nice card for you early on. We have 2 Stantlers. And our next basic Pokemon is a nice Teddiursa. As you can see, we have a great looking card there. It's always nice to have a little bit of design flair. So as you can see, that Teddiursa is quite cute. And at 40 HP, this is maybe a card that you should only utilize when you have its evolution coming up in your hand, which you will see shortly. At 40 HP, it is quite easy to knock out. Unfortunately, we have Scratch for 10 and Nap Time to remove all damage counters from Teddiursa and put yourself to sleep. So we do have 1, 2, and 3 Teddiursa there, leading us to our first real powerhouse of the deck, a nice Ursaring. Now, Ursaring at 80 HP is quite hardy and long wearing there. We do have Head Press, which allows you to flip a coin, and if heads, the defending Pokemon is now paralyzed. If tails, this attack does nothing. So sort of a all or nothing type attack, but very nice to paralyze your opponent with 20 damage with that. And for quite a substantial 4 energy cost, we do have Double Lariat, and that is a flip 2 coins, and if you do flip at least 1 heads, you do 40 damage, and at 2 heads you do 80 damage, which is quite intense. Unfortunately, if you do flip 2 tails, the attack does nothing. So this card is sometimes used as a bit of a stall just due to the 80 HP, and you can kind of do some early damage and disruption with that paralysis with your 2 energy cost. I would only use Double Lariat if perhaps you can't really get any of your other powerful Pokemon into play and this is kind of your only option, but this is a nice kind of card to buy yourself some time and have some damage opportunities as well. With a high retreat cost, it is kind of a difficult card to utilize for high damage, but with the right strategy, I think can be quite impressive. As you can see, that Ursaring there is very impressive and a nice card. I went ahead and gave you the non-hollow foil variety just to cut down on some of that cost, as I know was important to you there. All right, and we do have 1, 2 Ursaring there. Now, next up, we have a nice neutral, colorless, normal type Togepi. This is a simple card, once again, to give you an option for beginning your hand with a nice basic in case you aren't lucky enough to draw any of your other basic Pokemon. At 40 HP, I would treat it in a similar way to your Teddiursa. I wouldn't utilize it unless you have its evolution or perhaps another plan. But it does have Poison Barb in case you do need to utilize it early in battle, 10 damage, and an automatic poison of the opposing Pokemon. So it can, in this right circumstances, be very useful early in a game, and maybe if your opponent only has 1 or 2 active or usable defending basic Pokemon, you can maybe get a early knockout with that poison and a additional usage of one of your others. So as you can see, that Togepi is quite nice, perched there in a nice little cutout in a tree. A nice card there. So for Togepi, we have 1, 2, 3, and 4, leading us to our first hollow foil. Now, this hollow foil wonderful card is Togetic, a beautiful hollow foil card here. As you can see, that is just quite stunning. That hollow foil, I'll try to move it around there so you can see the various angles of that wonderful hollow foil background. That card is great. Now, this Togetic is a very unique card. Once again, don't be afraid to handle these cards, even though they are hollow foil. They are used and meant to be used in your battles. So I don't think Jasmine would be very pleased if you showed up to defend the gym in a TCG battle and you refused to touch your cards. So once again, don't be alarmed. But we have 2 very unique cards. Once again, this deck is sort of a specialty deck and kind of a unique and very fun to use. I think your opponents will be very impressed and admire the types of strategies that are used in this deck. But the first attack that we have, of course, for 1 colorless energy is Super Metronome. And listen to this. It says flip a coin, I apologize, and if heads. So right there you do see that it is a all or nothing card or attack, but if heads, you may choose 1 attack of your opponent's Pokemon, and you then can copy the damage and effects of that attack for just your single colorless energy. So for example, let's say that you were facing an opponent that had this Ursaring there. You could, if you flipped heads on Super Metronome, for 1 colorless energy cost, you could use Double Lariat, even though that your opponent must use 4 energy for that attack. So it can be quite the devastating attack if landed properly and used at the proper time. Next up, once again, an all or nothing. Fly for 3 colorless energy. Flip a coin if heads during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all effects of attacks, including damage, done to Togetic. If tails, this attack does nothing. So you may do 30 damage and prevent all incoming effects and damage to yourself on your next turn. This card is a nice, even though at 60, which is quite low for this type of card, this card still is a very nice disruptive card and can really be a game changer if used at the right time. And I think gives us a nice curveball at the normal typing to go along with this deck. Now, this particular deck I have crafted for you today is called Mystic Mountain, kind of borrowing from the ethereal attacks used by Togetic and the mountainous steel rock combo of your other cards. So a very unique deck once again. With that said, we have 1 and 2 Togetic, leading us to our next holofoil. I know you will very much love this Skarmory. Look at that nice and regal steel typing. Talk about impressive for Jasmine. I think that she will be very impressed with the types of Pokemon that you have selected to be a part of your Olivine City Gym deck here. This steel type Skarmory is very impressive. A nice subtle holofoil there, but a nice sleek design. This Skarmory has a nice 60 HP and a basic Pokemon designation, meaning you can utilize this card directly from the beginning of battle. And though it is a steel type, it does allow you one attack that can be used with any colorless energy, that being Claw. Flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing, so be prepared for that all or nothing usage, but for one colorless energy, it is not too much of a risk, and if it does land, it does 20 damage. Now, if you are fortunate enough to have a steel type energy card in your hand and 2 other energies at the colorless designation, you may use Steel Wing. Flip a coin. If heads, all damage done by attacks to Skarmory during your opponent's next turn is reduced by 20. Now, this also does 30 damage, and keep in mind that any steel type energy attached to a steel type Pokemon in this era reduces incoming damage by 10. So couple that with the 20 acquired by Steel Wing, and that is a 30 damage reduction, which is very nice. I think Skarmory can be a wonderful card in this deck and a very powerful opener if drawn early. So I think you'll be very happy to use Skarmory. We do only have a single one of those cards there, but it does help keep the cost down just a bit. Now, for the main attraction, we have our nice fighting energy type Onix. As you can see, it is a very nicely designed card. They're nestled in a crevice under the earth, as Onix are known to do. This Onix boasts a nice 60 HP, basic of course, and its first attack for a single colorless energy is Screech. It reads, until the end of your next turn, if an attack damages the defending Pokemon, after applying weaknesses and resistance, of course, that attack does 20 more damage to the defending Pokemon. So, just like in your Pokemon battles, Screech lowers the defending Pokemon's defenses and allows you to hit a more substantial attack on your next turn, which allows you to flawlessly transition into a 2 fighting energy required Rage. This attack does 10 damage plus 10 more damage for each damage counter on Onix. So, if used later in Onix's battle, this attack can be quite devastating, especially when perfectly and accurately timed with Screech. So we do have 1, 2, 3, and 4 Onix, leading to the masterclass in Steel-type Pokemon. The powerful, the unbreakable Steelix. Yes, this card is a beauty. I really do love the subtlety of the holofoil here. As you can see, it has a nice dark aesthetic to it with a very opaque background coupled with that nice streak of holofoil in the card and that wonderful confident looking Steelix, I think will reflect your confidence in using this deck in your gyms and your gym's battles, of course. And I just really love the design of this card. It captures that steel typing and the power and elegance of its nature. This Steelix is a quite the tank Pokemon card. At 110 hit points, we have a nice 2 colorless energy required tackle for a quick and simple 20 damage. We also have for 1 metal energy and 2 colorless energy requirement, we have Tail Crush. It says flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 damage plus 20 more damage. If tails, this attack does 30 damage, which guarantees you a nice 30 damage and gives you a 50% chance at 50 damage. Now, keep in mind, this deck is nice because though you may only have 4 metal type energies in your deck, you only have 2 actual energies required in the entire deck. 1 for your Skarmory's attack and 1 for your Steelix, leaving you a very nice opportunity to utilize all attacks in your deck without as much of a problem of running out of metal energy. Now, keep in mind at 110 HP, if you attach that metal energy required for Tail Crush, that will also give you 10 more damage reduction, which really helps keep Steelix alive and battling for the remainder and long duration of any TCG battle. Of course, we do have 4 retreat cost for your Steelix, so once you play it into battle, I would recommend trying to sweep and finish your opponent. So make sure that you have a nice setup for this card and are prepared to go for the kill, so to say, when playing this card. But I think you will quite enjoy when this card gets into play, because it can be very demoralizing for your opponent to try to take down. So that is your final card of the deck in the Pokemon variety. Are you happy with the selections, or would you like to make any changes? Great. I thought you would like that, and I knew you would appreciate the powerful and serene nature of the deck. Let's take you through your trainers a bit more briefly here. We do have a energy charge, which allows you to shuffle up to 2 energies from your discard pile back into your deck. We have a few of those. We have a Pokédex, a new Pokédex, which allows you to shuffle your deck and then look at the top 5 cards from your deck and rearrange them in any order, allowing you to ensure that you are happy with the next card that you draw. We have several Moo Moo Milks in the deck for a brief and effective removal of damage counters. We have Professor Elm, which allows you to shuffle your deck and then draw 7 cards, allowing you to get a bit of a reset of your hand. Once again, Moo Moo Milks for healing, 4 of those. We have 2 Pokemon Breeder Fields. These allow you to flip a coin for 1 or 2 of your non-baby Pokemon that can evolve, and then search your deck for their evolution. That allows you to flip a coin for perhaps your Teddiursa, Togepi, or Onix, and then if you have a successful heads flip, search the deck for their evolutions, allowing you to quickly gain that Steelix, Togetic, or Ursaring. We have 2 of those in that deck. You have a single Hyper De-Evolution spray. This allows you to take a Steelix that is already evolved from one of your Onix and put it back into your hand to save it for play again. Of course, you can't evolve a Pokemon in the same turn that you de-evolve it, so this can be a quite a nice saving grace at the correct time. Of course, you have your 4 metal type energy cards. These are so beautiful. Look at those. The very nice hollow foil there on that metal type. Of course, any metal type card that this metal type energy is attached to gains a +10 in its defense, which means any incoming attack is reduced by 10. Of course, any Pokemon that is not steel type that this card is attached to, their damage is reduced by 10. So ensure that you only use this on Steelix or Skarmory. You, of course, have 1, 2, 3, and 4 of those, and the remaining cards are your fighting type energies. So, does that look satisfactory to you? Perfect. Okay, so what I will do now is I will get your cards here off the table, and we will select the other aspects of your deck. The first thing that we will go through now is your deck box to house your cards. I'll place these off to the side. Now we have multiple options. We have our budget-friendly economy boxes that simply open, place your 60 card deck inside. This will only really house your cards and perhaps a coin. They will still fit fully sleeved, so don't worry about that. But of course you can't house any real amount of damage counters or anything else like that. So this is more of a simplistic version. We have multiple different colors here for any type of theme that you're going for. Of course, seeing as though you are a member of a gym and will be expected to conduct yourself in a professional manner, I can't help but recommend a more premium deck box. Allow me. We have multiple different variations of our premium deck box that does include a housing compartment for your coins, damage counters, and any other peripheral items that you would like to include, as well as ample room for your fully sleeved deck and additional cards. Of course, we have many varieties of colors in these deck boxes as well. So, would you like to go for the premium? I thought so. And what color would you like to go for with your steel type Mystic Mountain deck? Black, excellent choice. A nice, sleek, and neutral color. That is a wise choice. Of course, these deck boxes, as you can hear, have quite thick plastic and will protect your cards to a very high extent. So even if you were to drop, unfortunately, your deck box, it won't shatter or break. They are shatterproof and will keep your cards inside very safe. So we will go with the black box, and now we will build the other portions of your deck out and place them inside. First, the sleeves. Allow me to get my peripherals box here. The first thing that we will do is go through our box here and select the type of coin, damage counters, and sleeves for your steel type Mystic Mountain deck. So we will start from the top, which houses all of our damage counters, coins, status conditions, and any other things that you would require. So let's go ahead and have a look. Of course, we have many pre-packaged sets of damage counter dice, a large assortment of coins, pre-packaged and brand new status condition markers, and other specialty markers such as V-Star and other things like that. We do have a loose allotment of damage counter dice, so if perhaps you lose a dice or need a replacement, you can always come back and take just a single dice from our loose assortment. Alright, are you ready? Perfect. So let's start with damage counters. We have many different colors. We have a nice blue, green, black with a bit of course, all of these dice have gold lettering except a few of my other colors. We have a bit of a lighter turquoise blue, a burnt orange, and a nice purple or pink color. So, which of these colors do you think would suit your steel type deck the best? The black with gold lettering. That's a great choice. I was thinking this would be the best option. They do have a bit of smoky gray in that color there, if you can see that. So I do think that's a very nice choice and quite sleek and neutral looking. So I will set that to the side and we will go ahead and get these other damage counters replaced. And would you like to go ahead and have one of our acrylic sets of status condition markers? Perfect. Once again, a wise choice. And for coin, I have many options here. We have things like more of a paper or hard cardboard coin. We have metallic coins like this Ariados bug coin. Might not be the best fit for your steel typing. We have jumbo coins like this nice Pikachu coin here, and smaller coins like this Mewtwo or Chansey. I unfortunately don't have a specific coin for Steelix, but this Chansey coin is probably my most neutral coin with the normal typing, and since you do have normal type cards in your deck, I think it would be sufficient, and the Chansey coin is very commonly used and accepted with many types of decks. So what do you think? Great. All right. I'm glad we can be quite agreeable there. So let's go ahead and get the lid back on that top portion here. And let's go to the next level of decision making. All right, here is where we have all of our various sleeves in these two compartments. As you can see, we have many new packages of these sleeves here. They have a nice textured portion on the back and a clear transparent portion on the front to get a proper and accurate view of your card and to have a nice non-slip grip on the back. We have many different colors, including that purple you just saw there. We have nice green, we have white, black, and many others. So is there a particular color that you kind of have in mind for a deck like this? Alright, so you're choosing between white or black, keeping it neutral, I see. Well, let's take a look at both. I think I have, yes, we have a few loose options for both of those types. So here are your options. We have white and black. Let's go ahead and look at those with your dice set here and see if maybe we can choose. I think maybe if you went with that white, it would kind of draw out that lighter gray smoky coloring in those dice and give you a nice contrast. Of course, the black would look sleek as well, but I think the white might actually look surprisingly good with that deck. All right, let's do that. Not a problem. I will get your sleeves here and get all of your cards properly sleeved and prepared. So we have your damage counters, your coin, your sleeves, and your status condition markers. So let's go ahead and get this box put away and let's start preparing your deck box for travel. One moment. All right. So next I will sleeve all of your cards for you, of course, complimentary of our deck building experience here. So let's begin. Bear with me, this will take some time, but it will be over quicker than you imagine. So, how long have you worked at the Olivine City Gym? That's a good bit of experience there then. Have you always worked at Olivine, or did you gain initial experience elsewhere? Alright, you spent just a bit of time with Bugsy there. So what made you want to make the switch to the Steel-type gym there in Olivine? Just thought you needed to have a bit more of a serious environment. I understand Bugsy can be, well, a bit immature at times due to his age, but I do hear that he has grown up quite a bit since back in the day. I'm sure when you worked there, he was still quite young for a gym leader, but I've been told that now as a fully functioning adult, he is actually quite formidable. But I, of course, haven't been to the Johto region in some time, so I wouldn't know firsthand. But I do hear a lot of things like that here at the TCG store. We get a lot of travelers coming through here. A lot of Pokemon trainers on their journeys looking for decks to either commemorate a Pokemon in their party or just brush up on their knowledge of the Pokemon world, or just pass the time with the TCG game as a hobby. Of course, we have had our fair share of gym trainers. We've only had a handful of gym leaders actually come through, but we are always eager to see anyone from a official Pokemon position. I guess I will actually share with you that we actually have had a member of the Kanto Elite Four grace us with his presence here. I won't say who, just due to confidentiality, but I think you would be right to guess that he had sort of a champion aura to him. Yes, I'm sure you can guess just who I'm talking about without me actually fully spilling the beans here. But yeah, that was quite the day. We had everyone asking to work overtime that day to just get a peek at what cards he was choosing for his deck. Of course, we do try to maintain professionalism with any famous trainers that do come through our establishment here. It'd be a shame to lose business due to fanboy or girl behavior. But luckily that wasn't an issue that day. So, are you stopping anywhere else during your stay here at R&R City, or are you simply picking up your card deck and heading back to the Johto region? Really, you might stop by the TCG Casino. What's your game of choice there? Really? Magic Match. Well, I have never actually played that game myself, but I do wish you the best of luck, of course. It can be quite the grueling game, I've heard. Right. I am a bit of a fan of Voltorb Flip myself, if I must be honest, but I try to limit myself to just every once in a while, maybe every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday, but I try to be disciplined and not go too often. Maybe Saturdays if I'm feeling a little bit more lucky than usual. Yes, well, yeah, I did go last Sunday, of course, but that was just a one-time thing. Alright, we are almost completed with the sleeving process here. Alright, so as you can see, that deck is quite tall with those sleeves there, but that sound is very nice. The sound of a freshly sleeved TCG deck is hard to beat. And of course, let's go ahead and place your ace Pokemon on the front. That way, as soon as you or an opponent sees the cards that are inside your deck box, they will instantly know that a loss is about to unfold for them at the hands of your Steelix. Let's go ahead and get you squared away here. First, your cards. We will place your deck inside with the Steelix facing forward. I will add your extra card sleeves here, just in case you happen to have something unfortunate happen and tear one. And as you can see, it does fit nicely there. And your lower compartment, we will get your coin, your damage counters, and your status condition markers. And just like that, you now have a Mystic Mountain Steel type Steelix Aced Pokemon deck, perfectly prepared for your battles at the Olivine City Gym. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please do come back with any additions you need to be made to this deck or any other decks that you would like to choose. And of course, if you need anything at all, please don't hesitate to call us over your Pokegear and we can give you any advice or guidance that you need. All right. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and please enjoy your deck.